Let's see. Is it going? I do not want to. Okay. All right. It's your friend Tim, and I'm here with Marsha Griselli, formerly Marsha Hardy, who had the privilege to work on My Bloody Valentine, which is kind of a like dark horse favorite of mine. I loved it and have since I was a kid. And I was asking her all these questions about My Bloody Valentine. She's giving me all these great answers. So I figured, well, I should share this with somebody besides just me and the wall. So we're here with Marsha. And so how did you get involved with My Bloody Valentine?
Well, I had a friend slash mentors when I was in college, and he was the art director on the movie, and it was in Nova Scotia, Canada. And he called and he says, you want to come work on the film? And I said, sure.
Was that a bait and switch? Like you thought it was going to be like Gone with the Wind? And
no. He told me it was called My Bloody Valentine. He said, the way he said it, it's a grade B movie that suddenly got money, and it could now be useful to the level of being in the movie theaters.
Well, and was that so? That's a thing, because like for horror geeks like me, Halloween comes out, is gigantic. Friday 13th comes out, it builds upon it. So that enabled movies like, Terror Train and Prom Night and stuff like that to get made, including My Bloody Valentine, which we other horror nerds kind of refer to as like one of the holiday themed.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's Halloween and there's Christmas Evil and stuff, and so I mean, was that discussed at all, that like this stuff's big right now and that's gonna?
No, I don't know that was the case. It was, first of all, I'm going to say I was surprised that they did a remake of it.
Did you like the remake?
Not really.
Pretty bloody.
No, but the bloodiness is. It just didn't have the sense of scariness. I think it's just it just didn't appeal to me that much.
Well, and I don't know if you heard this, but and I was reading this on Wikipedia. My Bloody Valentine is Quentin Tarantino's favorite slasher movie of all time.
I didn't know that.
I know, it's kind of a big deal. So it influenced him to do great things, and me just to be a horror nerd. But
no, I think it's a well-made horror movie, and they had already started filming by the time I got up there. So, to give you an example, the day I drove in and pulled up, they were filming on the main street, and I got out of my car, and Harold says, "Okay, we got to go dress this window," and it was like changing it over to all the Valentine type decorations.
So you put up the stuff like from the party and stuff like that that's in the town?
Well, I did mostly studio work, but there were a couple times that we had to work the location shoots, but that was not normally what we did. But we did work the downtown street scene when they all come in and they were doing all their partying and stuff, and the night scene where the lead, and I'm going to apologize ahead of time because it's been many years since I did this, but the female lead met. She was walking alone, and
didn't work out so well for her.
Well, it's like she got scared. I mean, it was like she walked past the graveyard and all that stuff.
Okay.
And it was, so we worked that. But working a shoot, I don't like doing.
Oh yeah.
No, because it's sitting there. You wait, and then somebody goes, "Okay, I need to move that rock."
It's kind of a hurry up and wait kind of thing.
Exactly.
Well, but the stuff that was cool was pretty cool. I mean, do you remember like the gore effects and stuff like that?
That I do. I remember the first time we took pictures of. In fact, I have some at home. I can send them to you.
Oh yeah.
I think I have one of the body in the dryer.
Yeah.
That was the dryer.
When I was a kid, and I wasn't, you wouldn't know this to look at me, but my parents were not into this stuff, and I was not allowed to go see these movies. Because you'd end up like this if you did. But I remember all my buddies was like, they said the two parts. I mean, they go see it and they'd be like, oh, there's this. They were boiling hearts in hot dog, and they were in a dryer and so that was definitely one of the set pieces that everybody was excited about.
Yeah. Although I didn't work that scene. I mean, I didn't work that episode, but I got pictures of it as it was.
Well,
laid
did you
out.
get to see like the hearts and the blood and all that kind
Oh
of
God,
stuff?
yeah,
or
we
was
had
it...
the rats that were in the scene. Those were stored. They were stored. They lived out at the studio. The studio was like an old carpet company that was gutted. Okay, and we built out there. We built uh, the 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 mine shafts where they had the explosion, and the mine shaft where they had the fight at the end that had to collapse. And we built the shaft that they were climbing. In fact, that one we cut the roof out of the building, so the
Wow.
shaft could go up high enough.
Well, okay, so and I do have a question from Lee McCoy, who runs Drum Dums, and if you've never logged onto that, you should check out that web series. He was asking, what was it like was it claustrophobic in the mine and all that kind of stuff?
Oh my God. The first first thing we did is the miners took us down the elevator. Okay, they just go straight down, and they made us turn off our lights on our hats.
Are they gonna teach you a lesson or
Well,
what?
just experiencing it. It is the darkest dark I have ever experienced in my
Wow.
life. I mean, someone this close, you did not have a sense that they were there.
That's kind of creepy.
It is, and it gets cold. As you go down, it gets colder and colder. And that when we were there, in fact, I think that was the year that Virginia had a methane gas explosion in a coal
Oh my
mine.
gosh.
Yes.
Well, and that's a plot point in it even.
Yes.
I mean, so...
Yes, and that was kind of scary and ironic to have that happen. But I went down in the mine, I'd say probably 4 different times. Because one time we had the scene where, these are not going to be in any kind of chronological order. These have been from years ago, so I haven't, I'm kind of remembering new things as I go. But the one when they break in toward the end, when they break into the blocked area.
Yeah.
Well, we had built that replica in the studio, okay, so that when they break through, they're there. But when you were in the mine, you were not allowed to do anything that created a spark.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Because methane gas. So we had to go down there and we had to create the crossed wood and everything else in this little niche opening without any tools that would make a spark.
Oh my gosh.
So you kind of pre-make it in the studio, and then you put it in place and you wedge it, and then they did the shooting, and then we'd go out and take it out.
What was the actors and stuff like? I mean, was it a happy? Everybody seemed to get along.
It seemed to get along really well, but we didn't interact with the actors that much, But there was mostly, I think they were all Canadian. One of the leads was a well-known Canadian TV actor. Okay, and I think the gentleman who played the sheriff.
Oh yeah. Well, they were one of the things that you saw about that was kind of different was like, and I don't mean to dog on them because I adore these movies, but like Halloween and all those things, they were pretty teenage. And this one, it ratcheted a little bit like a notch up. I mean, they were more like 25, 30 year olds. Do you think that contributed to the people getting along and doing good and everything?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, like I said, I unfortunately, did not cross with the actors. I wasn't on set very much, and we were living in these little cabins on the ocean, and they were, in hotels, very nicely taken care of. But when they worked, it seemed to me to be fine. Not a big deal. I mean, I could tell you about the studio. I could tell you about the fact that my crew used to feed the rats marijuana.
Did that enhance their performance, or was that?
Well, I think it extended the length of their performance. How about that? No.
And then they got hungry.
Yes, very much so. But like the very first night, because we have in the large space we had the studio. What we called our area is the studio. So we built, how much was it? I think we built 1.5 miles of tunnel.
Wow.
Okay, because you have the one tunnel that goes down the side, then you have the one that they filmed that has the blow up at the end, the explosion. And then there's another one that crosses down there, and you have an offshoot tunnel here, and then you have another offshoot tunnel, which doubles for where the big fight scene at the end is. Okay, and we were on set the night they filmed that, the mine itself. And I know we had to build rocks. Oh, we built so many gold mine rocks, that basically all coming from, started with boxes, and you had the spray foam, and then you took a chainsaw, cut that up, and put some more foam, and then you burn it all off so that you could have, different size locks and stuff. So the first thing we shot that night was the explosion. Okay.
Well, get the big thing out of the way, I guess.
And so we have all the rocks piled up, ready to do the thing. And it was really neat because what it is they had, let me try to remember which way they did this. Okay, so they were releasing gas. Anyway, it was controlled from here, and I can't remember for sure if it was I think it was gas at the end, and they shot a flame toward it.
Okay.
And it was a controlled fire. It was controlled. And then all the rocks fell down. And then the director said, well, how long is it going to take to set up the fight sequence? Which was on the other side of the studio. And we had to take all the rocks, move them, and put them into this rigs, so that as they're doing the fight with the axe and everything, that different sections will come falling down. And I looked at it and I just said, well, based on how long it takes you guys to set up your cameras and stuff, I think we'll have it done before you get ready to shoot. And we did.
Nice. Well, it looks great. Oh my gosh. And and I think for me that's something that really adds to it, because I don't know mines. I've never done anything like that. And I mean, it kind of creates a sense of like you're not you're out of your element with that.
Yeah, except that you go down and you take pictures in the mine, and they throw dust on all the wood to help keep it down. But you have to build these blocks, the blocks that were holding up the walls and stuff. They were cutting trees down. I mean, they were buying up as much wood to do that as they could. So I mean, that was all fresh, brand new wood.
Well, was it a very big? Because it looks like in the movie, it looks like a little tiny town. I mean, was this like a massive thing? I mean, like you guys were because it's happening in Bartlesville right now. The new Martin Scorsese movie is actually shooting in our little town right now. Is that what it was like? Like you were the movie people that was in, and it was a big.
Yes. And the difference is, I know that the Martin Scorsese movie and everything, they're bringing their own technicians, really trained people. Well, this was a low budget film, and Harold brought in key people that he knew and had worked with before and knew how they worked and what they did, and we had to hire local.
How did that work out?
It was interesting.
You could end up with somebody like me.
Yeah, but I mean, the guys that were on my crew, okay, were, I'd say in their early 20s, okay. They had you have to understand, Sydney Mines, Nova Scotia, was one of the most economically depressed areas in Canada at the time. So people didn't have a lot of work. They really enjoyed having the work. But the guys would come, none of them drove, I had to go out in my car, pick them all up, and they would come to work all day, go home, pop little blue pills, and go on their little trips, and smoke, and they stay up all night, and then they come back to work the next day.
Hey, whatever works.
Yeah, and it was funny, but they got really, really kind of good at it, because to build the mine, okay, is kind of really fascinating. To build the inside of the mine, it's like built up in frames, much like you would paper mache, and then it was covered with spray foam, and that's carved back, and then it's filled in again, and then it's covered with black plastic, and then you throw the dust on it to dust it down and stuff. So you can see them, they're there carving out this foam to make it look like what it's supposed to be.
Well, it looks fully legit. I mean, I figured you just found a cool mine and went and shot in it. I didn't know that there was a lot that went into, making it like that.
We weren't allowed to they weren't allowed to shoot in the mine. I mean, they had a couple setup shots that they were allowed to do. But the funny thing is they did the search for location, and they found the Princess Mine, which is the actual call of that mine. And it was perfect. It was this, a little old, a little dilapidated, they made the arrangements to do that, and they went away. And when they came back, the town people had thought, well, we can't have them film something that looks all this dingy, and they had repainted everything.
So it was a happy mind.
So it was all brand spanking new. So then they had to pay the cost of the scenic artist to go in and make it ugly again, and then they had to pay to have it painted again at the end so that it looked nice.
Well, everybody was happy about it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, because you said like they were happy to have the money, they were happy to have the interest, they were happy to have all
it
the
was
everything.
economically and everything, and the people were very friendly. And of course, we were working, 12, 18-hour days, so we didn't get much time to,
Well, did anybody give you a hard time that it was a bloody horror movie? I mean, were they like, this is going to be a cheesy whatever?
No. And in fact, I mean, this is back in the 80s, and I never even had a problem with the guys working for a woman in that kind of area, But that was, it was fun. We had to lay tracks in these mines, and then when they wanted to do the escape up the the shaft, building that, we just build curved theatrical type of flats that went up through the air, up through the ceiling with scaffolding. And on the day of that shoot, because it's all raining and wet, they had people up on the roof with water hoses and stuff, so that shooting it back down and in for the dripping.
Wow. Well, again, it worked. Everything about it works.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was completely believable. You said you didn't have the actors that much, but I got one more question about that. What was the miner like? I mean, were you on any of the shots where the bad guy was there with a
No, because unless it had to, well, yeah, they was there for the fight scene, but they were there and we were behind the thing.
Well, but I mean, were they scared? Was it imposing? I mean, like being around?
No, they're actors.
I think it works. I mean, was there any discussion about the design of him and stuff? I mean, with the
mask.
Yeah, with the hose on it.
Well,
and
that would have been
everything.
done by the costume people. So that again, I didn't have much to do with. But I tell you, the one thing that was also interesting that I got to be in before the filming and stuff was the changing room with all those minor outfits hanging.
Oh yeah.
And the shaft of the shower area.
Was that something that was like, I mean, obviously it's a plot point because somebody gets stabbed. Spoiler, somebody gets killed with that. But like the notion of those bare pipes that just with water, and they were pinched, I think.
Yeah.
Was that the way it was they had it like that? Or was that, you guys set it up that way?
We didn't set it up. I mean, that was the changing room, and that's where they set up. At least I didn't, and my crew didn't.
Yeah.
Okay? Maybe the location crew did, I don't know that. But, pieces and parts of everything. And you just kind of get used to that. Oh, the other part we also built in the mine is the that little scene where they're crawling out in the original.
Yeah.
What is it called? It's not an avalanche, but it's
The cave-in.
the cave-in.
The cave-in.
So, and it was built like it's just this high, and it's a lot of fake dead bodies.
That's claustrophobic for me.
That would have been.
Yeah.
That would have been. I wouldn't have liked it in there, but you could see close up, and it was because that's that scene that they save him. He's the only one.
Well, it's fairly, and my wife and I, she'd be embarrassed that she's even in a discussion about this, but like, we actually discussed that compared to these other movies. And again, I'm not trying to dog on it, but like, it's fairly complex. Like the plot is fairly complex.
Yes.
And like what I refer to as rewinder. Like after you watch it all the way, then it's like, what just happened there? And you have to rewind the last 10
Yes.
minutes. Was there very much discussion about that, about the ending and the plot points and stuff like that, or it was all?
I think that was all pre-shoot. It's like they go in, they have the script for that day's shoot. They get into, they do what they're going to do, and they shoot that little bit. Sometimes you shoot. See, the thing is, the movies are shot out of sequence that it's not. You kind of have to jump into the moment and come up with what the feeling should be at that point.
Well, was everybody happy with it? I mean, like when it wrapped. I mean, we were like, "This thing's awesome," and we're
No,
great.
it was a very fun wrap party. Everyone was happy, but everyone was also very glad to get out of Nova Scotia because winter was heading there. And it was almost there.
Yes. We're soft Americans. We can't handle that.
Well, mostly it's Canadian crew. Mostly it was Canadian.
Well, okay, so now we're at the talking about the end of it. Do you know anything about the song at the end of it?
No.
There is, and I'm a horror nerd, so I know all this stuff. Like, one of the weirdest credit songs I think I've ever heard. It's like this kind of.
Is it like a nursery
It's kind of
rhyme?
it's sort of a John Denvery folky thing that's about this mass murder. So this is odd, like kind of
Huh.
homey, warm, fuzzy thing about a killing spree, but you weren't.
Well, it's almost sing-songy, like
Yeah, it's like
a nursery rhyme, like little kids would do it.
But you didn't have any.
No insight to that.
Well, so how was it like immediately thereafter? I mean, because it was fairly big. I mean, it
Yeah,
made
it
money
did
and
really
everything.
well, and it was good enough to make a remake. You know.
Well, yeah, and it's got well, and I mean, for again in the horror scene, I mean that's definitely a recognize. I mean, you got like Freddy and Chucky and Michael Myers and all this, and I mean the Miner is absolutely one of when you see these things where they do a collage of all the horror stuff. It's like he's definitely in there. I mean,
Oh.
it's distinctive looking and all
Yeah.
that.
Oh no, it's very distinct. I mean, there is something really creepy about the opening scene.
Yeah, yeah.
When she's sitting there caressing the hose.
Oh yeah,
You
it's
know?
kind of
It's
definitely.
like, ew. Yeah.
Well, and plus the notion for me as just viewing it, you know, she's naked and she's around
not
like
quite naked.
well,
Not quite naked.
getting that way. But she, you know, there's bare skin that's
Yes.
next to like these rocks and sharp things
Yes.
and all this kind of. So it kind of sets you off right away that like you're kind of in a dangerous area
Yeah.
with this.
Yes, and then when he shoves that pickaxe into the wall and then he starts focusing in on the heart, you know what's going to happen. You don't want
Well,
to.
how was it on the set? Was that an exciting? Oh, we're shooting the big heart scene today, or something? I mean, was that a big
Oh, because you do millions of takes.
thing?
And it gets really boring. Like for that one, that was the first day they shot in the studio. And when we left the studio that evening, they were doing that scene. And all you heard as you walked out the door was the scream.
Oh yeah.
And when we came back the next morning, opened the door, all you heard was the scream. So they worked on that opening sequence an entire night.
Oh, it's great.
It is. It's a very.
Well, and you know, again, this is a movie that's been it has had a little bit of an editing history because like apparently it was a victim of because you know Halloween comes out and all this stuff comes out. And things start getting bloody, so the MPAA starts cracking down on it. And so My Bloody Valentine famously was one that got cut a lot, but it's been restored. And that first scene with the woman was one of the ones that was edited. Was that a thing that people discussed at all? That they're going to butcher our movie, or
No.
what's?
Not that. Again, unfortunately, I'm sorry, everybody, but I wasn't in on all the inside stuff to be able to tell. I could just tell, you know, mostly about what I did on the movie, but I don't think so. I think everyone was just excited that the money came to upgrade the level of the art.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, did you get to see it in the theater? Did you watch it with people afterwards and everything?
Yes.
How was that?
That was fun. My parents. All my sisters.
Your mom and dad went with you?
My mom. No. I was I lived outside of where my family lived, but all my siblings and I think my mom went. I don't know if my dad went or not, but you know they all went. They sat in the movie very carefully until the credits rolled and they saw my name. And I had one of my nephews took a ceramics class in his high school years. And he made me a vase that has My Bloody Valentine logo
that's
on
nice.
it and everything, and Wicked on the other side. So, you know, there's lots of memories. You know, it's like I've only done 2 movies. No, I did one other movie.
Was the other? I know. I've been told this. I don't.
I
remember
think
now.
so. When I was working in Miami. What is the one? My mind forgets. There's 3 levels of it. It's the one that they have a graveyard in the second one.
Return of the Living Dead?
No. You're editing this, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh my God.
It was something scary.
Well, I think it was a farce with scariness in it. Yes.
And it had a graveyard in the second, and it's three. It's a trilogy. You can think about it. And it was after My Bloody Valentine.
Yes. Yes, because it was when I was working in Miami. Well, actually, it could have been almost simultaneous because I worked on that movie in the '80s, and I know I was working at the Playhouse in Miami in the '80s. So somewhere in there, it all came together.
Because I'm a dork for this, so I'll figure this out.
Now I've got to just think about it.
And it was in a cemetery?
Well, there was a cemetery scene.
Not mortuary.
No.
It's not Phantasm, is it?
No, it's not that. It's not one that. Oh, Porky's.
That's not scary.
It's not. Is the cemetery scene scary?
Well, yeah, sort of. I mean, like where somebody jumps out, kind of thing.
Okay.
But, oh my God.
Well, it was Porky's.
That's hilarious.
It was Porky's 2, I think, because I was working in the theater at the time, and our prop man got the gig to build the gravestones.
I was expressly forbidden to watch Porky. Oh my
Really?
God. Oh my God, yes. My parents were, well, you know, there's boobs in there. Like, I can't be trusted to watch stuff like that.
Too young for you.
Well, I think I was like 15 when that came out, so it was perfect.
We just did a commission on that to build all the gravestones.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know,
oh my gosh.
It was fun. It was fun. And, but on my, I can remember still, on my Bloody Valentine scene, you know, when they want to make, just so everyone knows, when they make rain on a lot of these movies, they open up a fire hydrant, hook up a hose, and shoot it up in the air.
It works.
It does. So.
You know, it's funny because I hadn't really thought about the set and stuff. I mean, but that's a testimony how good it was. I mean, I just felt like you just went in and shot. You know,
Good.
I just thought it looks legit, and they did a nice job on the feel of that movie. Like it feels like I really, and I know this is a vast departure from My Bloody Valentine, but the way that the guys interact in that, the coworkers and stuff, it reminds me of The Deer Hunter. You know how they're all the working class guys going to the bars and stuff and all that. Well, obviously a much different slant.
Very dark.
But it kind of feels like that. And unlike a lot of these movies, like the characters are kind of there just to get killed. Like they're there for Jason to have somebody to do something to. These guys, like, they were pretty fleshed out. I mean, especially the main guy, you know, and well, anyway, I could go on about what's great about My Bloody Valentine, but
well, I'm glad you liked it.
Well, and what was the aftermath of it? I mean, it was big. Everybody was excited that you worked on it, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think so. I think everybody, you know, the locals that worked on it loved it. They got the excitement of having a movie shot in your town, which is a quiet little town, and you know, nothing real big happens there. So this was like an event.
Yeah, and then the remake too.
Yes. I don't understand. When you have something good, why change it?
I know. I actually saw, and I thought this made a lot of sense. It was like, why do they remake good? It's like they keep talking about remaking Jaws. Like, don't remake the good ones. Remake the ones that aren't very good.
No,
like, make them better.
It's like, I'm sorry to go back this far, but Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
The old black and white had enough horror in it without going to the extreme that the Donald Sutherland.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like you remember certain things being scared. You know, I don't know if did you ever watch the old black and white ones?
Oh yeah,
or just the new ones?
Oh yeah, I'm actually wearing a Kevner Dr. Kilgari.
Okay.
That's a silent movie. Yeah, I watch all that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I always used to be scared of House on the Haunted Hill.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, the blood dripping from the ceiling.
And the acid thing that and I'm just a sucker for Vincent Price. I just like that. I just think he's class. Period. Which I think is kind of funny that like horror is kind of known as kind of a troglodyte genre, but then you get people like Vincent Price and Stephen King, and you know, really smart and everything.
Yeah, psychological. But it's like people love to be scared. Period.
Yeah.
You know, you want to be scared, and sometimes horror movies go a little too far. And they just become bloody. I mean, it's, without any specific reason, it becomes excessive. That they really didn't need to do that to get the same, you know, result. as what might have been. But
I don't want to be disturbed by. I mean, I realize there's a whole section of horror people that are desiring that, but like I always say, like I don't mind going to see Schindler's List where it teaches you something about the human condition.
I could watch it once.
Well, but I don't want to go to a horror movie that I'm just going for fun, to get disturbed by. Like I don't want to like question my existence after I go see a horror movie.
Exactly.
But, yeah, I agree. I think the new one. I don't think I didn't dislike it as much as you did, but I'm not a huge fan of it either.
Well, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it.
Yeah, I thought it was alright.
But it wasn't. I guess sometimes you just don't like to see something redone just because. I don't know why they thought it needed to be redone.
Yeah.
Maybe because we don't have enough good writers now.
Now I'm gonna have to watch it again to see what I think about because I rewatched the original the other. Of course I don't need an excuse to rewatch that, but yeah. Such good stuff. All right. Well, you got other things to do, and I will leave you to it. So, but I appreciate you taking this time. Thank you so much.
Oh,
seriously.
You're so welcome. I enjoyed it.
And that was funny because when Joe was like, she worked on something, and then I was like, My Bloody Valentine? Are you kidding?
Yeah, many years ago. I was a lot younger then. So, do you want me to send you the pictures?
Yeah.
Okay.